The man had to wait for his son to get home before dark every single day. Even if he was just half a second late, he would unleash a torrent of furious yelling at the boy, only after spotting the father and son hurrying frantically toward the house. Would the younger boy rush to bolt all doors and windows? Moreover, the already locked main gate required a second layer of reinforcement. Yet even with such thorough preparations, Paul still looked deeply troubled. He double-checked cautiously for any overlooked gaps, ensuring not even a fly could sneak inside. Only then did the group's tense nerves ease slightly. After completing this rigorous inspection, they dared to turn their attention to other matters. But Paul remained on edge throughout dinner. He began reprimanding Thomas for coming home late while scavenging for food. Just then, the family dog caught a whiff of danger. It pawed restlessly at the ground. Their hearts sank instantly. They knew tonight would be another sleepless, harrowing night, following the routine they had agreed upon long ago. They split into 3 groups at once. Paul quickly grabbed the weapon set aside. Thomas carried an oil lamp carefully toward the front gate. Though they had endured countless nights just like this, the boy could not suppress his terror the moment something slammed against the door. It was only when he heard his father's voice that he snapped back to his senses. The two used every ounce of their strength to form a third line of defense. They understood clearly, if the barrier broke, death awaited them. After the pounding ceased, the creatures outside prepared to leave, but the boy felt no relief from narrowly escaping disaster. He wondered how many more nights like this they could survive. Early the next morning, Paul stepped outside to inspect the damage. Horrifying scratch marks marred the gate, proof that the creatures were attacking with greater ferocity than before, to fortify their home's defenses. The 3 of them set off immediately to search for supplies. Paul had agreed the previous day that Thomas could meet his girlfriend, and Thomas was consumed by inner turmoil. On one hand, his family needed his help with chores. On the other, he longed to see his girlfriend after such a long separation. He agonized over the decision the whole way. In the end, reason lost out to desire. Thomas pulled the car over. This was not the first time he had acted so recklessly. His younger brother foolishly hoped everything would turn out fine once again. Dusk arrived in the blink of an eye. Thomas tore himself away from his girlfriend reluctantly, having stayed far longer than he should have. He quickened his pace and sprinted through the dense woods toward home. Yet in a moment of carelessness, Thomas slipped and fell into a fissure. Meanwhile, his younger brother had already reached their meeting spot. The lengthy wait made him increasingly anxious. He scanned the surroundings repeatedly, but there was no sign of Thomas. He realized if he waited any longer, he would never make it home before nightfall. The boy tried to convince himself that his brother must have left ahead. With that thought, he started the car and drove away. Back at the house, Paul waited in mounting panic. When he heard the engine noise, he rushed outside at once, seeing only his younger son in the vehicle. Paul knew something terrible had happened to Thomas. He sprinted inside to grab his gear. Venturing out after dark was enormously dangerous. But as a father, he could never abandon his son. Deep in the fissure, Thomas stumbled around like a headless fly searching for an escape. His small figure looked terribly vulnerable within the dim cave. If he was afraid of the monsters, he feared far more being utterly alone in this hopeless place. He could not hear his father calling, nor see his brother anywhere. Every faint sound around him could signal a lethal threat. Then his worst nightmare came true. Thomas's pupils shrank in shock. It took him a long time to recover. This was the first time he had come face to face with a monster. Trembling, he pulled out a small knife to save himself, and stabbed fiercely at the creature's hand. Just as he thought death was inevitable, Paul arrived after hearing the commotion. He swiftly lured the monster away from the crevice entrance.